Good morning, all. I am Uma Shankar. We'll continue from yesterday's class. First of all, we'll recall what we have studied yesterday. Okay. So, basic. We have discussed only the basic concepts. Okay. What are all the things GST we have studied? First, what is GST? We have studied difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes. One nation, one tax. Okay. Then one nation, one tax we have studied. What is GST? GST is broad-based value tax. GST is destination-based tax. GST is paid by suppliers, which is borne by the customers. GST is collected at multiple stages. GST is the consumption of products based on that we need to pay tax. And there is a easy flow of input tax credit. And how many types of GSTs are there? CGST, SGST, UTGST, and IGST. CGST is for intra-state sales, SGST is for interstate sales, UTGST for inter-GST sales, but for union territories, and IGST is for interstate sales. Okay, so earlier we have also seen the taxes which have already subsumed in the GST. Okay, can you give anybody examples? Like, see, I can give an example. I will give the example. Don't worry. Central excess duty, additional duty of excise duty levied for the medicinal and the toilet preparation. Then additional duties of customs, that is CBD, SAD, service tax, surcharge, sales. These are our central taxes that were subsumed in GST. Okay, like this only. State some duties are also taxed. You can say an example: state VAT, CST, purchase tax, entertainment tax. One point to remember, for entertainment tax, only which is levied by the state government or state government, not by the local bodies, because the entertainment tax levied by the local authorities is all right now also we need to pay. Okay. Then luxury tax, entry tax means octroi, we can say. Then tax on lottery, betting, games, surcharge, and cession. These all are subsumed. So, which are the taxes which are not taken under GST? Any guess? Yes, property tax. Okay, property tax, stamp duty, electricity duty, excise duty on alcohol for human consumption, basic custom duty, excise duty on petrol, diesel. Okay, and taxes on opium, Indian hemp, other narcotic drugs, and narcotics. Okay, now we have also seen tobacco. What about tobacco? On tobacco, GST is applicable and central excise. There is no state excise or VAT or CST. Okay. Now we have also read articles and articles. Article 246A, Article 269A, and amendment article. Okay. Till this we have studied. Now we'll start today's topic. We'll start from here today. Okay. So what is GST? GST is not, GST is a network which facilitates the government and the supply registered person. So what is written here? GST, G Goods and Service Tax Network is a non-government private limited company. It is the technology beyond. It is the technology beyond backbone. Okay. Technology backbone for GST in India. Sorry. So it is a technology band, and GST, as we know, GST is a destination-based tax. The interstate trade of GST goods and services would need a robust settlement. Okay, robust settlement mechanism among the state and the state. This is possible only when there is a strong IT infrastructure and service backbone. And it helps in It enables capture, processing, exchange of information among the stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? Taxpayers, state government, central government, accounting offices, banks, RBI. Okay. As a result, GST has been set up. And it is a 100% government-owned company. Cabinet considers converting GST into a government entity on September 2018. Earlier it was private company, then it is converted into government company. Okay. See, here is just example how GST works. Centralized agency we have already studied above. See, suppose a dealer. This is the dealer. Okay. See, this is the dealer A. This is dealer B. When there is an interstate supply along with the inverse B, so this is the supply means sell. Okay, sell. So dealer A will file GST 1, and along with that he will pay the SGST amount, CGST amount as it is interstate sales. So return and payment information submission to the central agency. So once it files the returns and pays the GST's amount, the central agency, what he does is he forwards the information to the respective state and the center. Okay, respective center and state. Also to the respective that he has the purchase transaction he has done. And it will give input tax credit to this department and it will reflect in GST 2A or 2B. Earlier 2A was there, right now only 2B is applicable. Okay. Next below. What are the functions of GST? Means what GST does? Creation of common and shared IT infrastructure for functions facing taxpayers has been assigned to GST, and these are, as I have already discussed, what are these? Filing of registration applications, filing of returns, creating challan for tax payment, settlement of IGST payment, generation of business intelligence and analytics. Okay, these are the functions of GST. What GST does. Okay, this is the point. Then all statutory functions to be performed by tax official under GST like approval of registration, assessment, audit, appeal, enforcement will remain with the respective tax department. Okay. All approvals and all it will depend with the tax department. I will say for these things, GST has no role. GST, it will just reflect the data. Okay, audit, appeal, all these functions should be performed by the tax officials. Okay. Next. Yeah, it's just given a pictorial understanding for this. Okay. What is given? Harmonization of business processor and formats, common and shared IT infrastructure, because IT infrastructure it is available by everybody. Okay. So autonomy of backbone-backed system, central state tax IT system, interfaces, it is commonly shared between these two. And what are the core services? We have already discussed what are the core services. I already discussed registration, return filing, payments for any support in concerning circumstances, then information on interstate supply and cross credit utilization means IGST utilized for CGST payments or SGST payments, analytics, and IGST settlements. And statutory functions, these all are non-statutory functions. These all are statutory functions. What are the statutory functions? Like approval of registrations, assessment, refunds, audit and enforcement, adjudication, internal workflow for support, recovery, analytics, and business intelligence. Okay. So here the autonomy of backend means what are the in the organization there is a front end and back end. So this is you can say front end and this is back end. In the back end, all these works are taken place, which is also known as statutory functions. And this is on the front end. Registration, return, payment, support. Okay. Now, what is GST Council? Before going to GST Council, we need to understand Article 279A. As per Article 279A, the Constitution of India, President of India is empowered to constitute the Goods and Service Tax Council. The President of India constituted the GST Council on 15th September 2016. Okay, GST Council was constituted on 15th September 2016. The GST Council consists of Union Finance Minister as a chairperson, and Union Ministers of State in charge of finance as a member, Means for each state there will be a union minister of state for which will be handling the financial matters, and the state financial matter of the state revenue minister or any other minister nominated by the each state as a member. Okay, means who will be handling the finance. So GST Council has been selected as one of the vice person of the council. GST Council has select one of them. Means out of this person, he has to select one of them as vice chairperson. So one of them, select one of them as vice chairperson of the council. So who will be the chairperson? Chairperson will be the union finance minister. But out of this all union minister of the states, one of them will be selected as the vice chairperson of the council. Now, what is the mechanism of the GST Council? The mechanism of GST Council would ensure harmonization of different aspects of GST between the center and the state as well as among the states. It has been provided in the Constitutional 101 First Amendment Act 2016 that GST Council in its discharging of its functions shall be guided by the need of harmonized structure of GST and the development of harmonized national market. Okay, means this GST Council will help in each and every aspects of GST. Okay, it has been already provided in our Constitution Amendment Act. Then, what is the functions? Means what GST Council does or what it do. Okay, so for this, GST Council is to take the recommendation from the central government and the state government on tax rates, exemptions, threshold limits, dispute resolution, GST legislations. Okay, so what GST Council will do, it will take decision based on the recommendation of the central government and the state government, on the matters of related to the tax rates, at which tax rate which product will be taxed, and for which products and services exemptions will be given. What are the threshold limits for exemptions or registrations or anything? All limits regarding to limits, turnovers. Then dispute. If there is any dispute or any problem, how it will be solved. And GST legislation regarding rules and regulations. These are the functions of GST Council. Now, body of GST law. Okay, means what contains GST law? What contains? It contains acts, rules, notification, circulars. These four things. Now we'll go each or two. What do you mean by act? What do you mean by rules? What do you mean by notification? What do you mean by circulars? Okay. Act. We have already read what is Act GST. Once a bill is passed in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and after getting signed or approved by the President of India, it becomes an act. So we have GST Act, Compensation Act, UUT GST Act, IGST Act, CGST Act, SGST Act, based on different states. Now, what are these rules? In GST, it is mentioned that what to be done, how it is to be made. Suppose a product is to be taxed as a 12% or IGST, or you can consider an ITC, input tax credit. How ITC will be passed from one node of the chain to the another node of the chain, in supplier to the distributor or purchaser. All these are maintained in the rules. Goods and service tax settlement of funds rules 2017, IGST rules 2017, GST compensation. Means for each act there are different rules based on. See, for 29 states and 300 is deemed to be the states. Okay, now notification. What the things mentioned in the acts and rules sometimes are confused or might lead to some miscommunication understanding. For that reason, time to time, GST Council issues some notifications. Okay, notifications. IGST notification, IGST rate notification, CGST notification, CGST rate notification, UTGST notification, UTGST rate notification, sales notification, sales rate notification. In notification, same. It's similar to the circular. Notification and circular are little bit similar. Notification means suppose a product, for example, sorry, what will do? See, so I will give an example. Okay, so notification. What do I will give an example of notification? For some product, earlier it was 5% tax was there. Now government wants to increase it to 12% tax. How it will do? It will release this amendment rule through notification. It will issue a notification dated 12th of March, 13 or March 2022, and we can enforce from this product will be taxed at the 12% instead of 5%. So this information will be shared through notification. And what do you mean by circular? Circular means time to time amendments will be given through circulars. Okay, amendment means now they want to exempt some product or some goods. They will give this information through circulars. Okay. Now we'll go further. Important definitions under GST law. So GST law. What are the definitions? Yeah, these are the most important. Okay, consider this. So first our definition 2 subsection 6, that is aggregate turnover. What do you mean by aggregate turnover? Turnover means you might be knowing turnover means sales or revenue. Okay, but we are considering here aggregate means the sum total. So sum total of turnover contains what it contains, sum total of the aggregate value of all taxable supplies. So we need to consider all taxable supplies. In bracket we'll read at later. Then bracket over, then exempt supplies, then export of goods or services or both. Okay, so all taxable supplies, all exempt supplies, exports and interstate supplies. Okay, of having the same PAN number, that is in stock transfer. Okay, so all this, so we need to consider this is all textile supplies, all exempt supplies, all exports, all interstate transport. So these 4 things need to be added to get aggregate turnover. But what do we need to exclude in this? What do we need to exclude? Excluding the value of inward supplies on which tax is payable by a person on reverse charge basis. What is reverse charge? For the timing, don't need to understand. I will explain later. But just remember that we don't need to consider inward supplies, RCM. Okay, inward supplies on which RCM is paid. Okay. Then, for a better understanding, I will just give an example of what is RCM. Okay. See, so normally what happens when a dealer supplies to a buyer, GST is paid by a supplier. Okay. This is forward charge. Okay. But in some cases, this is the supplier, this is the buyer, GST is paid by buyer. This is called reverse charge. Okay. So in this case, this is the example. We no need to consider aggregate turnover. Sorry, we no need to consider, but this will be considered in aggregate turnover. Okay. Now we'll get back to the next definition. Next definition is business. Business. 2 subsection 17. What is business? This is a very important definition. Okay, you need to remember. So what is business? Business. What do you mean by business? So it has segregate parts. Okay. So business means any trade or commerce, any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure or venture or any other similar activity. Okay. Then, okay, trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, venture or any other similar activity. Okay, for the timing you remember this. Next, an activity or transaction in connection with or incidental or ancillary to subclause A, means related to this activities we have. If you do some any transaction activity, that also it will be included in the business definition. Okay. Next, any activity or transaction in the nature of subclause A, means along with in the nature of this transaction, whether or not there is a volume, frequency, continuity, regularity of this such transaction. Means this definition says if there is a volume, irrespective of the volume, frequency, or continuity or regularity, if it is connecting or it is the nature of the subclause A transaction, then also it will be included in the business. Okay. Next definition. Any supply or if you supply or acquire or acquisition of goods, including capital goods and services in connection with commencement of or closure of business. Suppose you are going to start a business, commence a business, you need to purchase some goods like purchase inputs in stock, inventory. Along with that, you will also purchase some capital goods. All those things will be included in the business definition. And when you stop a business or closure of a business, you need to sell out your stock at scrap value or whatever the NRV, net realized value, and also you will also to sell the assets also, capital goods. In that case, or that activity, that transaction is also included in the business. Okay. Next, you might be heard of a club, association, society. They provide various services or facilities to benefit its members. That activity is also considered as a business because it is the revenue for that club, association, or society. Next, admission for a consideration of persons to any premise. Example, I can say what means you are being given admission on paying some consideration or any pay to any premise. Premise you can consider cinema hall, theater, or amusement parks. Okay, like this, museums. So that is also considered the business. Next, services supplied by a person as a holder of an office, which has been accepted by him in the course or furtherance of his trade or commerce. Means for his trade, profession, or vocation, he has been holding as an office as a person responsibility. Okay. Now we'll go deep into it. Now let's come to the first point we have already studied. Okay. So what it says, any trade or commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, or wager, or any other similar activity, whether or not it is for a peculiar benefit. Okay. So what is peculiar benefit? What do you mean by peculiar benefit? Peculiar benefit means profit motive. Okay. So it is saying if you do any trade or commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager, or any on the similar activity, whether or not it is for any profit motive. So profit, whether there is profit motive or not, that does not matter, but it will be added. Okay. Now means what do we can see in simple language, whether you have intention. What is your intention? If whether or not you have intention to earn some profit or income, the trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager, or similarity will be included in the business. Okay. Next point. Any connection, any activity or transaction in connection with the incidental or ancillary to subclass A. Means in subclass A, if you have any connection activity or incidental or ancillary which is related to that above activity. Example, I will say sale of old furniture or scrap by a trader of mobile shop. See, I am a mobile shop owner, so it will become under my trade and commerce. But I am selling my old capital goods or old furniture or any scrap things. Normally, it's not my business selling the scrap or old furniture, but the old furniture, the scrap is related to the business, that is my mobile shop. So it will also include it. That is, it is saying now in connection with the above activities or incidental to the above activities or ancillary to the above activities. So all this will be considered as a business. Okay. So I will write here. Sale of old furniture. Sale of old furniture of a mobile shop. Okay. Next point. Any activity or transaction in the nature of subclass A. It is also related to the nature of clause A, whether or not there is a volume, frequency, or continuity or regularity. Example, when occasional transactions also are subject to tax. For example, a trader of computer also providing consultant services. See, I am selling computer. Okay. My main business is computer, that is trader commerce. But along with that, for some occasional purpose on circumstances, I'm also giving consultancy services. Okay, consultancy services means sometimes I'm helping them to how to install the computer, how to configure the assembled computers, or anything related to that, any type of consultancy which is related to that. So in that business also, that activity also considered in the business. Okay, how to set up computer shop or anything, whether it is a friend or something else. Next, supply or acquisition of goods like capital goods and services in connection with the commencement or closure. Suppose, see, this one I've already given an example. When you're opening a shop or any business, you are purchasing the inventory stock along with the capital goods. Okay, the same thing. There is nothing else. Next point. Next one is provision by a club or association or society or any society body which gives facilities or benefits to its members. Okay, like sports facilities like swimming pool, table tennis, cricket, then cafeteria. All these facilities are examples of benefits given by a club to its members. Okay. Now, admission also I've given example admission for a consideration of person to any premise. Entry tickets to amusement parks, Diwali media or any functional activities, cinema theaters. Okay. I will write here. I'll write here cinema theaters, parks, okay, functions, okay, all these things. Now next, services supplied by person as the holder of office which is accepted by him in the course or furtherance of trade or professional vocation. So what do you mean by that? Holder of an office. See, an advocate is get appointed as a member of arbitration tribunal. You might be heard about arbitration. Okay, arbitration. There is a person arbiter. Okay. It is given to an advocate. So, advocate is his profession is for fighting in a court of law, but he also hold as an arbitrator in an arbitration act. So he is holding an office in the arbitration act. So this is also considered in the business. Okay. Next 2 points more. Services provided by a race club. Okay. Services provided by a race club by way of totalizer or a license to bookmaker in such club. Okay. Or activities of race club entering by a totalizer or licensed bookmaker or activities of a licensed bookmaker in such club. Okay. So here what it says, in totalizer means who counts, that registers or bets or divides the income or loss. Okay, registers and bets, divides the total amount of bet. Okay. So in race clubs, there always betting is there. So who totalizes or who have the license to use these things, actually this also considered in the business activity. Okay. For example, there is a monitor or device showing the numbers and the number of bets staked on a race to facilitate the division of total among those backing the winner. Next is an activity or transaction undertaken by the central government or state government or any local authority engaged as public authorities. Means if central government or state government or central government, state government or any local authority does any activity or transaction for public or as a public, then this also will consider as a business and GST will also applicable to the government authorities. Here is also given what do you mean by bookmaker? Okay, so bookmaker means a person whose job is to take the bets. Okay, calculate the odds and pay out the winnings, or you can say the manager of a betting shop. Okay, so what it says, H. Activities of race club include by totalizer, a license or bookmaker activities of the license book in such club. Changes are being made to ensure that all the activities related to the race club are included. Means all activities of race club are included in the business activity. It must be noted that with this notification, the government had notified that the value of supply of external claims in the form chance into betting, gambling, winning, race horses is amounted to 100% of the face value of the bet and the total amount into the totalizer. What it says, with recent notification or amendment, government has notified that the value of external claims on bettings, okay, the chance to win to betting, gambling, or horse racing in the race club is amended to 100% of the face value. Means not amount, not on the income amount, but on the total amount you bet on that. Okay. Let's take on a break. Then we'll continue. Clause section 2, section 18, business vertical. Okay. Let's take a break. Hello. Now we are going to start after the break. Okay. Already we have discussed some of the definitions. Now before the break, aggregate turnover, business. Now we'll be going further into definition. Okay. So now our next definition is section 2, subsection 18, business vertical. Okay. Business vertical. What do you mean by business vertical? This is a distinguishable component of an enterprise that is engaged in the supply of individual goods or services or a group of related goods or services with subject to risks and returns that are different from those of other business verticals. Means a business, suppose for a supplier, it is engaged in two types of goods or more than two types of goods. So the business can be divided into more than one component, or that is called business vertical, a distinguishable component. Okay, this is distinguishable component which is engaged in supply of individual goods, services, or related goods. So both the component may be related or may not be related, but subject to risk and returns. Okay. Next explanation will go on this. What are the factors to be considered in determining whether goods and services are related? If they are related, how it includes? We'll see the nature of the goods and services, the nature of the production process, the type of class of customers who are purchasing these goods, and what are the methods used to distribute the goods and supply, then the nature of regulatory environment such as banking, insurance, public utilities. Okay. Now, this definition has been omitted in the CGST Amendment Act 2018. Just for understanding where it is, but this has been already omitted. Okay. So it's not of so much important or have been omitted. Now, next definition. What do you mean by casual taxable person? Okay, casual taxable person. Casual taxable person means a person who occasionally undertakes a transaction involving supply of goods or services or both in the course or furtherance of business, whether as a principal or agent or in any other capacity, in a state or union territory where he has no fixed place of business. Okay, this I will explain with an example. Okay, so normal taxable person means you can understand the meaning of the taxable person means he is a person who will be taxed on this on doing activity of business activity. What do you mean by that? Casual. Casual means we can say occasional, or for some temporary period we want to supply some goods or services. Okay, for temporary purpose we cannot give the normal GST registration. So how the regulation will be there, how compliance will be there, how its business will be occurred for certain temporary period, and how the person will be taxed. For that reason, this provision came. Okay, so we'll read the definition again. A person who occasionally undertakes the transaction. Okay, occasionally means sometimes undertakes the transaction means business transaction or business activity involving supply of goods or services. Okay, so occasionally supply of goods or services are both in the course of furtherance of business, whether as a principal or agent or in other capacity. Okay, in a state or in a territory where he has no fixed or place business, where he has no fixed place of business. Okay, suppose for example, if he has a fixed place of business, obviously normal GST registration will be there. Then this provision would not have come. No. So the main point lies here. As there is no fixed place of business, we need to register as a casual taxable person. Okay. For example, let's take an example. Okay. Here there is a factory. Suppose this is Odisha. Okay. Here my business unit is there. I want to go Andhra Pradesh for any to participate in a fair or any some type of exhibitions. Okay. There I will sell my products. Okay. But in Andhra Pradesh, I have no fixed place. Okay. No fixed place of business. Okay. Me, what do you mean by that fixed place of business? Means I have rented shop or an godown, something from which I can execute my business activity. So for this case, this business unit need to register as a casual taxable person to execute this business activity in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, this is the definition of casual taxable person. Next, composite supply. What do you mean by composite supply? Composite supply means a supply made by taxable person to a recipient consisting of two or more supplies of goods or services or both or any combination where it is naturally bundled. Okay, naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction with each other or in each other in the ordinary course of business, one of which is a principal supply. What do you mean by that? Okay, one of which is a principal supply. Let's take an example. Okay, now see, today, now Valentine's week is there. Okay, during these days, now you will be purchasing bouquets. Okay, chocolate bouquet or gift wrap, gift packets that will be combined with this flower base. Means like this, the chocolates will be there, some flowers will be there. So there is and some gift items will also be there. Okay. So here, see, there are chocolate is there, flower is there, and some gift items are there. There are different goods are there. Here more than one supply is there. Okay, more than one supply. This is an example one. For example two, I will take. See, when you purchase a drink, okay, thumbs up or Coca-Cola or anything, okay, drink. The drink comes in a plastic PET bottle, PET, okay. But the plastic bottle supply is different and the cold drink is different. But if you want to supply the cold drink, you need any bottle or container. Okay. Without this container, you cannot sell the liquid, the juice or anything. So it will be naturally bundled. If you want to sell the juice or cold drink, you need a plastic bottle. Okay. So this is the case. It is called composite supply. And this is mixed supply. Means these chocolates and gift items and flowers or other things, decoratives, can be supplied differently. They are not naturally bundled. These we are bundled by manually. Okay, this is the difference between mixed supply and composite supply. Okay, let's go. We'll read it again. A supply made by the taxable person to a recipient consisting of two or more taxable supply of goods or services or both or any combination where they are naturally bundled. Okay, naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction to each other, and one of which is a principal supply. Illustration: when goods are packed and transported with insurance, the supply of goods, packing material, transport and insurance is a composite supply, and then supply of goods is a principal supply. Means your goods is the principal supply, and for supplying these goods, we need the packing material, also the transportation, and also the insurance. I will also give another example. You might have had lace, kurkure, all those things. So to supply the lace or kurkure, we need packaging material, that gift, that wrapper. Okay. but that wrapper can be sold externally. But if you want to sell the lace, you need to pack it in a container. Okay. So this will be naturally bundled. Next. Consideration. This is the main motive of any business activity. What do we get? Obviously consideration or money. Okay. So how? So any payment made or to be made means made or to be made means made means already made past. To be made means you are going to be made in future. How you will pay? You will pay in money or otherwise means any other mode in response to for inducement of the supply of goods or services. Or why? For the supply of goods or services are both, whether by the recipient or by any of the other person, but shall not include any subsidy. Okay. But shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or state government. What does it say? So what do you mean by consider? When you purchase any or you receive any supply, whether it is good or services, for which you are paying something, whether you have already made or you are going to be made in the future, that's called consideration. But if you are getting some subsidy from the government or any grant from the central government or state government, that will be not subtracted from the consideration. Okay. There is also another part. Okay. So the monetary value of an act or forbearance. Okay. Monetary value. Okay. Its value of an act for any activity or forbearance in response to or for investment of supply of goods or services or both, whether by the recipient or any other person, but shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or state government. Okay. Does not include any subsidy. Shall not include. Okay. So both are actually the same thing, but different. As per the definition, we need to consider this is the payment made or made, and here the monetary value or an act. Okay. This not much difference is there. Now, provided that a deposit, suppose you are given any advance or deposit, but that will be considered for computing the contribution amount. Deposit. Okay. A deposit you can consider advance or security money. Okay. So deposit given in respect of any supply of goods or services or both shall not be considered as a payment made for supply unless supplier applies such deposit as a consideration. So here it says that where you are giving any advance or security deposit, for the time being it will be not considered as a consideration, but when you actually pay the when you receive the supply, after receiving the supply, where there is you need to pay the consideration, at that time deposit will be considered as that you have already paid the consideration. Okay. So unless, here it is saying, unless the supplier applies the deposit or consideration for the said supply, means after the supply activity over completed, you need to pay the consideration. At that time, supplier will consider or apply the deposit as the consideration amount. Okay, now that will become the consideration. Next supply. Next definition is continuous supply of goods and continuous supply of services. What do you mean by continuous supply of goods and what do you mean by continuous supply of services? Okay. So a supply of goods which is provided or agreed to be provided continuously or on a recurring basis. Okay. So what it says, provided means some portion is already provided or it will be provided in the future, and continuously or on recurrent basis means recurrent means time to time, every time within a frequency period we need to supply the goods under a contract. Okay, here it is saying it is under a contract, whether or not by means of any wire, cable, pipeline, conduit, for which the supplier involves the recipient on a regular or periodic basis. Okay, regular or periodic basis. Regular or periodic basis, and include supply of such goods as the government may, subject to such conditions, it may be by notification specified. See, so continuous supply of goods means a supply of goods like some inputs or anything will have a contract with the supplier that every month in the first week you need to provide all the consumables for our shop or anything. I have just given an example. So every month and first week he will be giving on a recurrent basis or on a regular basis or a periodic basis. As I've said, every month first week, he need to pay, he need to supply our consumable items or provision items. So we have already signed the contract, and every month it is regular or periodic or requirement basis, he need to supply continuously. That is continuous supply of goods. Now, continuous supply of services. Just replace the word goods with the services. See, normally, if you are residing in an apartment or any PG or everything, anything like that, so you will be having monthly maintenance. Monthly maintenance. Okay, monthly maintenance or and ever plumber services, electricity services. So there we have a contract with the third party who will provide us the maintenance services each month. Okay, the same thing I will explain. Provided or agreed to be provided continuously or on a requirement basis under contract for a period exceeding 3 months. Okay, here it is important because continuous supply for a period exceeding 3 months with periodic payment obligations. Okay, here is a different point is that period exceeding 3 months is the more important condition. Okay, so 3 month condition is there, and it also must be on contract subject to conditions. So that here there is no condition that is don't 3 months condition is there. It is no, there is no condition, but here it is condition that it must exceed more than 3 months. Next definition, electronic commerce operator. Can anybody give an example of electronic commerce operator? Hello, I'm audible? Okay, let me give. So
yeah, you are audible.
Give an example of electronic commerce operator.
Electronic commerce operator is.
Hello, is it audible? Okay, let me tell. Flipkart, Amazon, these all are okay. This Ola, Uber. Okay, all these are electronic commerce operators. What did they do? These are the persons who own, operates, and manage digital electronic facility or platform. Okay, means Flipkart is a person, Amazon is a person who owns or operates or manages digital electronic facility or platform for the electronic commerce. Commerce means business or trade. Electronic means electronically, means digitalization of the business activities through a platform. That platform is provided by electronic commerce operator. I will take an example. Suppose you are ordering a electronic item like your phone or home theater, TV, everything. Normally you buy from a shop or departmental store. But through this electronic commerce operator, you will be going surfing the Flipkart. You will select a product, you will order it. What Flipkart will do, Flipkart will deliver that product to you from a supplier. It will give the instruction to the supplier, it will give the details of the order, and the supplier will directly provide it to your home address. So what the role plays by Flipkart here is just playing as an intermediary services, providing a platform which receives the order from you and passes on to the supplier. Okay, this is the normal definition. Now, what do you mean by fixed establishment? Fixed establishment means suppose I am conducting the business in Orissa or Andhra Pradesh. I have a fixed place, or that is registered place. The registered place is called fixed establishment. But here it is definition is what is written. The place other than registered place means any other additional place. Suppose you are maintaining a godown, is characterized by sufficient degree of permanence, which is permanent and suitable structure in terms of human and technical resources to supply. See, you have registered places there for the conducting business, but you are also maintaining a godown or warehouses. That place is also called fixed establishment. Okay. Next, what do you mean by goods? Simple thing, goods. Every kind of movable property other than money or securities, but it includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of the land. Okay, this is a different definition, so consider it. Okay, it includes actionable claims, growing crops, Gross things attached to the forming part of the land. Compare these goods definitions with Sale of Goods Act, where and what is the difference between the definition of goods in Sale of Goods Act and GST? Consider it as a homework and let me know by tomorrow. Okay. Now next section, India. What do you mean by India? Okay. This will come under Article 1 of the Constitution. What is India? The territory of India. Okay. It consists territorial waters, its seabed, subsoil, then continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, and any other maritime zone, so referred to as territorial waters. Okay. So, what do you mean by territorial waters? What do you mean by seabed? What do you mean by subsoil, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone? Okay. All these are given under India definition. So, this you already might have read during our schooling times in social studies, obviously. Okay. So, territorial water means from our the border body mass, our India map is there. So from the land mass, we will consider 12 nautical miles that comes under territorial water. Then and below the territorial water, the soil is there that is called seabed and subsoil. Okay. Now, continental shelf. Continental shelf is after the territorial water ends, from there to the high seas onwards, it is called continental shelf. Continental shelf. Okay. Now, exclusive economic zone. As I have already said, territorial waters is 12 nautical miles. Exclusive economic zone is 200 nautical miles from the border of the Indian landmass. Okay. Now, next point. Next definition, input tax. Okay, input tax. This already we have taken. When we do a supply, we pay tax GST to the supplier. That GST amount we take as input for paying our net tax liability. That's called input tax. But we'll go through the now definition. A registered person means registered person means the central tax or the state tax or the integrated tax or integrated charge on any supply. Okay, what did you say? Tax charge on any supply of goods or services are both made by him includes integrated goods and services tax on import of goods, tax payable on original subsection 3 or 9. We'll read these sections after section 9, section 5, section 9, subsection. Okay. Just to consider tax payable, tax payable, tax payable, tax payable. When we are paying all this tax payable, it becomes our input tax for nullifying our output liability. Okay. Not tax liability, not taxable supply. What do you mean by not taxable supply? Supply, I've already understood what I mean by supply. Non-taxable. Okay. So supply of goods or services are both which is not leviable. Okay. Not leviable to tax. Example I already gave. Alcohol liquor for human consumption. I've already said that there is no tax. So it is a non-taxable supply. The sale of land is also example. This one we'll discuss when we start the definition of supply later on. Now person. This thing you as a commercial you already know. What is the definition of person? Individual, HUF, company, firm, LLP, associates, okay, AOP, BOI, cooperative societies, firm, then okay, LLP, AOP, BOI, okay, any corporation, any body corporate, cooperative societies, local authority, central government or state government, then society, trust, in every activist or judicial person. This is not the thing I need to explain. This you could have already understood. Next we'll go. What do you mean by principal supply? I've already discussed in the composite supply, a portion is called principal supply. That we'll going to read this in definition. Means the supply of goods or services which constitute the predominant element of a composite supply. I told you, in the composite supply there are more than 2 goods or more than 3 services, in which one is a supply means a principal supply. That is predominant, means that have a dominance role in that supply, composite supply, and that forming part of the composite supply in ancillary. Okay. I've also given the example, so I'm not going in deep into it. Next, who is the recipient? This is the normal thing. See, the person who pays the consideration is called the recipient. Where there is no consideration is payable, then the person to whom the goods are delivered. Suppose no consideration is payable, then the person to whom the goods are delivered or made available or at whom possession or use of the goods is given. Okay. Next. Here also no consideration is payable, but no consideration is payable for supply of services, the person to whom the service is rendered. This is for the goods and this is for the services. Okay. This is whom to whom the services is rendered. This is for goods, this is for services, and this is for consideration is payable. Okay. And any reference to a person to whom supply is made shall be considered as a reference to the recipient of the supply and shall include the agent. Okay. It also includes the agent on behalf of which the recipient in relation to goods or services or both are supplied. Okay. Simple thing, there is nothing to explain. Now I will go to reverse charge. Reverse charge also I already make you understand. The liability to pay tax by recipient of supply of goods or services are both instead of the supplier of which goods or services are both under subsection 3 or 4 of 9 or 3 or 4 of 5 IGST. I've already taken the example and I make you understood. Okay, this one. Suppose in normal forward charge, normal business, this is the supplier and this is the buyer. When it's supplied to B buyer, GST is paid by the supplier. This is called forward charge. But in reverse charge, S is the supplier, B is the buyer. But when supply occurs, B pays the tax or the GST amount. This is the case of reverse charge. Okay. So reverse charge also completed. Now services. Anything other than goods. Okay. Anything. So everything will come in services which are not goods. Okay. Or money, securities. Means money and securities are also not included. But activities relating to the use of money or conversion by cash or by any other mode from one currency or one denomination to another form or currency or denomination is considered as services. Okay. Suppose you are having rupees currency, now you want dollar currency. So in foreign exchange, you are converting from one form of currency to another form of currency. This is the this services is called conversion by cash or any other mode. This will be considered as a services. Okay. And if you go into it, explanation for removal doubt, it also is that facilitating or arranging transaction in securities. Suppose we are giving any services which facilitate or arrange some transaction in securities, then it will be considered as services. But normal securities or derivatives will be not considered as services. See here written. Example, some service charges or service fee or documentation fee or broking charges. These are the fees like or charges in relation to the transaction. So this will be considered as a service. Okay. And these are the normal definitions. So I don't need to explain this. Who is supplier, who is taxable person, who is taxable supply. I will make understand this taxable supply. Okay. A supply of goods or services to both which is tax is leviable. We have already seen non-taxable supply. This is taxable supply. Here there is no GST, non-taxable. Tax is leviable, it is taxable supply. And taxable person who is registered or liable to be registered. Okay. So here our definitions, all definitions are over. Let's end today's class. In the next session, we'll start levy and collection of tax, chapter 2 or study note 2.
Yeah.
For the timing, if you have any doubt, just let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just tell me your doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Shall we end up our session today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue
Yeah.
in the next class. I hope you go through the
Yeah,
revision
sure.
of this whole chapter so that it will help you to understand the next study note, because here the basic concept starts from GST. Means how GST will be levied and how GST will be collected from the suppliers, registered person, and we'll proceed on this. what is supply, what is scope, what are the scope, what do you mean by composite and mix. We'll go into deep. Then we'll see what is composition levy scheme, what is the exemptions, person liable to pay tax, and all those things will go for and carry on this. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
So we are ending our session now.
Thank you.